Hello, hello, hello everyone, and welcome to the start of this week's vlog and today's reading Dippit. Woohoo! Alright, so what has happened is that I've been doing the Mortal Engine series. I realized that there was the prequel trilogy, and guess what? There is three kind of like a novella and two kind of like a short. There's one short story, and then there's this other book called the Traction Codex, which is the historian guide to the era of predator cities, and it is like literally just like essentially a glossary of like what each thing's like means in the universe. There's like a little bit of like a beginning part of like the book where it just kind of, I don't know, like it just like it does give like a timeline, and then it's a glossary. But you know what, it was really worth kind of seeing because just to get things redefined. I am going to read or listen to the novella and the collection of short stories this week, but you know what, until then, but yeah, so I guess like I'm just right back into Mortal Engines again, and yeah, I will let you guys know what I think when I finish the novella and the short stories, and then I think that'll be done with Mortal Engines. With all the research that I've done, I now know that there's 11 books, and I've created, and through my research I've found that there is a great way to read all 11 books in order, which I will do the next time if and when I do end up reading it again. So, but yeah, I just wanted to get that out there and let you guys know that there's more and the last of the Mortal Engine series. Alright, and that's what you get to look forward to this week. Yay! Anyways, thumbs up. Hopefully everybody's doing alright, and we'll catch you on the next bit. Bye! Hello, 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 and welcome to this reading Dippit, and woohoo! And so I've just finished listening to Thunder City by Philip Reeve. This is a novel that takes place between Fever Crumb and Mortal Engines, and I thought it was really cool. We have Stryker, who owns a ship, and he has Helen, who goes with him, and it's during like kind of like the Traction Wars, or just kind of like during that area of like ships that are like, you know, going on, and we have like our everyday. And so the main protagonist of this story is Tamsin Pook, and she is kind of like this fighter that's been reanimated with some technology, and that we have like kind of like this like tutor and history professor named Lavinia like Hilly or Topperho, and this artist named Grotto Thumbershin, and we have, you know, kind of a mercenary named Dune, and it's just all together they get together to, you know, in this like final battle against like Stryker. And it's one of those things when everyday people get to become part of like history, and they fight, and it's just, of course, like they win the battle that they're participating in. It just does come to an end during like the Traction Wars, where it's just whose ship's gonna be, you know, win over. And it's just when everyday people get to be part of history, and it's just after they get back to their real life, they don't know what to do with themselves. And it's just, but of course, Stryker and Helen are going to continue on, and, you know, Tamsin and Eve does get like reanimated, more of like a Stryker type person. And it's just, you know, like that, it's where do they go from here other than just travel and get back to everyday life. And it's just, I don't know, it's a cute little like story about like, I guess, like, again, like everyday people being part of like this world. And it's just, I don't know, I really liked it, and just how they get to express like their travels and be part of something bigger than what they were, and going into the future like that. So yeah, all right, give it a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next bit. Bye. Hello, 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 and welcome to this reading Dippit. Woohoo! Alright, so I have just finished listening to Bridge of Storms, and this is like what I'm referring to as the second book in the duology. The first one being the Thunder City by Philip Reeve. And so we have the same cast of characters, and so they're back together to bring these historical artifacts from the Loomis ship, or the Lucent City, to London. And they're gonna meet at this like once agreed upon spot, but they're just not too sure like how. that's what they're going to do. Bring, so that way the history artifacts can all be merged together and like right on the ship, right? On London, I guess, the London ship. So, so at one point we got Tamsin and Vespertine and Dune, the Oddington Dune get kidnapped, or not kidnapped, but get taken prisoner on one ship, and we have our other like Hilly, Tween, and Max on the Crawley city, and they're trying to rescue their friends, and it's just quite the ordeal. A lot does happen, and eventually they all get back together, and that London's late. London's late at their at this meeting point, and that they have to. They honestly. Okay, so it's called Bridge of Storms because, like, they need to cross, like, this bridge in between, like, the two lands to be able to get to the rendezvous point, and they don't know if they can make it. And, of course, like, Hilly is at, like, the head of the ship, like, with, like, a flag kind of, like, trying to help steer the ship. But you know what? They get across the bridge, and, of course, that they get, like, harpooned to help them not cross and to, or just not to get there. And of course people want these historical artifacts like to be destroyed, and these books to that are part of like these artifacts, and like, you know, information is power, but they don't want that. They want the books to be ruined and all these other artifacts to be destroyed, because they don't, you know, the truth that goes behind them is beyond what you could ever imagine. So it is definitely, you know, it's will they or won't they ever get caught, or, but you know, of course London always comes and rescues them. But anyways, but this brings me to the end of the Mortal Engines books, and quite the adventure this has been. Now, what I'm saying is that this is an 11 book series, which I didn't intend or think that it was, and this is a bit of a rant, but just quite the deep dive that has happened here. I thought it was just the original quartet, plus a few short story companion book, but then there happened to be a prequel trilogy, and then there's like a codex, like, right, and then there's like this 2-book duology, making it 11. Now, when I was first looking into it with Thunder City and Bridge of Storms, I thought it was like Thunder City was like a novella, and that Bridge of Storms was like short stories. But the internet lied to me. Like, I haven't found it on the internet, but like, to me, Thunder City and Bridge of Storms is a duology, because it's the same cast of characters, that it really has, like, there are just stories within the Traction era, like Traction cities, so you have nothing really to do. Like, there's elements in Bridge of Storms that reminds me of, like, well, both of them were like, well, okay, so I found in Thunder City there was like elements that reminded me of like Mortal Engines, but in Bridge of Storms there was like things that reminded me of the Fever Crumb series. So like basically kind of like the pyramid that where the stalkers were created, kind of thing. That's what I liked about the Bridge of Storms, and so it's just quite the adventure. I am now, through all this research, now know that I have read all the Mortal Engines books, and I'm happy. I mean, definitely the next time I read it, I am going to read the Fever Come prequel series, and then the short stories, this duology, no, then the Codex, this duology, and then the quartet, right? But it's going to be some time, because I'm really kind of put out by all this like randomness and other things coming out of the woodwork with it. So, but yeah, I'm super excited that I have finally done, and that I took the time to read it all. And would I recommend this series? Yes, definitely, especially if you like future dystopian type stuff. I guess that's kind of it for me. We don't want to get too far into it or more than that, but yeah, I guess now that I know, and knowing's half the battle, and knowing the best way to read it going forward, I guess that's kind of it. Alright, thumbs up. I hope everybody's doing alright, and we'll catch you next bit. Bye! Hello, and welcome to this reading Dippit, and then the end of this week's vlog. Woohoo! Alright, so you're gonna have to deal with the air conditioning being on. I know it's noisy. I know. But we're going through this like massive heat wave right now. So, I can't turn it off because the humidity is killer. But oh my gosh, so I got a few things to share with you. As you can see, that I got this most random upon random kind of like book haul. Some of these books I got them from like the bookstore that I volunteer at. Some of these books are just so old and we're not selling them. So I do plan, or I want to read some of them. So like some of them I am reading, and then like I know I'm borrowing. Like the power of being like best friends with like the co-manager, and from actually volunteering there for so long. I know it's not a library, but like I know that I'm going to read them and then bring them back and we can sell them. For example, like these 2 graphic novels I know I'm going to read and take back next week when I volunteer. But a lot of them, like, because it's like, for example, like the Brave Lands and the Beatrice Zinker, because they're like the second and third one in the series, we're not really going to sell them, and we haven't sold them for a while. So and that, like, originally we were just gonna, like, we were reading them so we could fit like much newer books on them, and we were gonna send them to the like used the big giant library sale that we have like every year in the fall. But it was just kind of like, why not, right? And I mean, like, I didn't make a donation, like, like, so I'm a good person that way, but like, but it's just, I guess not a good person, but like, I mean, trying to be a good person, but trying to good, good vibes. You always want to put good vibes out there, right? So I am, but like some of them are for like my nieces and nephews that I have. But I guess, okay, you know what, I'm talking about them, right? So I got this like novella, which is kind of like a middle grade. It's by James Patterson and Maxine Petro. It's called The Woman's Murder Trial. It's like a little novella. I don't know. So it'd be kind of quick and easy read when I want that, just for like a night. And then these 2 I think are part of like a series, the Wish series. So Macaroons at Midnight and Do Not Go Breaking My Heart. All right, and of course, like, I've tracked this in like trackers, so I can always do that. Oh my gosh, there's so many in this series. Right, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure I've had that one before, then I gave it back, or I've seen it at the bookstore before, and we had that one. So I don't know why I didn't pick that one up as well. I don't know, nothing matters. It's probably still going to be there next week. Then I got a John Grisham one, Theodore Boone, a kid lawyer. I've always kind of wanted to read one of like John Grisham's like junior fiction ones, so I got that one. And of course you can see that I also picked up another one in that series called like The Activist. Right, and then of course Beatrice Zinker, Upside Down Thinker, Incognito by Shelley Johans. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. It's got kind of like a fun little layout within the book, which I always like, and I think it's awesome for like a kid's book. So yeah, I thought that would be nice, and I think my niece will enjoy that one very much. Junior High by Tegan and Sarah, which are like a group, like they're sisters, and they're a good group. So I figured I'd give this a try. Graphic novels are always fun. And then Pizza Face by Rex Ogle and Dave Velezra, and I'm just realizing that this is a little bit sticky, so I'm gonna have to de-sticker that, but I don't know, thought that would be really fun to kind of do. And then I think it was like last year at the library's book sale, or the year before, I picked up Addie Bell's Shortcut to Growing Up, but then I never read it, so I just ended up giving it to the store, but it never actually sold. So I do kind of still want to read it, but I will most likely just, I don't know. So I do want to read it, but I may just end up giving it to a little free library. Who knows? Right? And then, of course, we got like a Brave Lands books. And I think like there's also in this kind of series, does it say there's like a Warriors, Warriors, Survivors, Seekers, and Brave Lands. So I've always kind of wanted to kind of read or just any of these kind of books to see what they are like. So I figured that would be a good try. And I don't think you need to read all of them in order, but we'll see. And then of course Sneaks by Catherine Egan. Or I guess these Brave Land ones is by Aaron Hunter. Yeah, right. And then Sneaks by Catherine Egan. I just thought it was like kind of looked cool, of course kids books. And then Sneaks, Interdimensional Mischief Makers. Poising in this universe are original objects. Are they telling me you've never heard of them? Ooh, there's a lot that was like kind of cheeky, kind of, right? Just thought it would be funny to kind of, read. gosh, there's a lot. Okay, gotta get my the sticker jagooby gun out. So, okay, right, because I wanted this to show you. So I had 2 knitting projects on the go, and before I could move, because like I started one, didn't really finish it, so I started another one, and then I ended up pausing both of them to then like do other like knitting and crocheting projects. But there's like this really nice thing that I really wanted to make for my husband and or my partner, and the only way I can do that is if I finished both these projects. So I finished this cute little baby blanket, and you know, I knitted like a lot of it, and then I crocheted the small little border around it. It's very small, but this is just like all the yarn that I had of this that kind of went together. But yeah, super cute. Really liked it. I do need to wash it, but I just wanted to, you know, show you what I'm crafting, what I'm doing, and I just thought it'd be really nice. But yeah, took a lot of effort. It's just mainly because this yarn is like really fine. I know you can't really see it, but like when you're knitting with like really fine yarn, like it can be, it's a little bit harder to, you know, make sure you're doing the good thing on the thing. And like there was like one end or side, oh yeah, you can tell like the yarn switched from here to here. This is more lighter, where this is more cream. I don't know if you can tell that on camera, but I don't know. It's not like it matters, and it's not like people are going to be like, oh, how dare, right? But it took a lot of hard work. Didn't really notice that I combined 2 different types of yarn when I was doing it. One was a little bit more off-white. Maybe I did, and I didn't care when I was bowling it, but I obviously forgot that it was like this when I was doing it. But it doesn't matter. Whoever I give it to, they're gonna enjoy it and they're gonna like it. They're, you know, the people who complain about hand made things are just great, or just don't appreciate the effort that goes into it. But anyways, that's kind of it for me. Finished a project, random book signs that can be read and donated to little free libraries. But anyways, double thumbs up, and we will catch you on the next vlog next week. Alright, bye! Happy reading, everyone!